Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at her. This is women exploitation at its finest. Wait a minute. Let me look at her.
Hubba. Wait a minute.
What?
What is that?
I'm sorry. Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to...
Wood had a hard hat on.
Kensil Culture, Puppets, Props, Puns, Podcasts.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Kensil Culture, the pop culture magazine. I'm the legendary Wid, and I'm the sidekick of the psychic himself. Let's have a nice hand for the master of ceremonies, Mr. John Kensil.
Hello, non-bathers out there who don't bathe. I'm John Kensil, and this is Legendary Wid. Just went through introductions. We have an action-packed show for you today, for this episode. Before we begin, though, Wid, how was your weekend?
My weekend was very good. Thank you, John, for asking. I went to see an old friend, Paul F. Tompkins, at the Underground Arts, at 13th and Broad. Or I think.
Oh, it's a basement of an old factory.
Yeah, but it's the Underground Arts, and I have played there myself a couple of times. But can I tell you, John, he packed the place.
Yes.
Okay, there were chairs on the ceiling. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was Boffo box office over there for Paul F. Tompkins, and I remember him when he was sleeping on my on my kitchen floor. But I'm very proud of him, and you can look him up, Paul F. Tompkins, and And then I didn't get a picture with him because that's kind of creepy when you do that. I want a picture of.
He's a celebrity and must be worshipped.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a celebrity. Okay, I'm not doing a good job of it, but you feel kind of creepy asking somebody you know for a selfie. It's like asking for an autograph. And I used to collect autographs. I have a couple, but But I did that, and then I cleaned my room a little, which was an adventure by itself. You find things, it's like doing archaeology on yourself. I found all sorts of beautiful, beautiful things. I found one thing, John, that I think you might like.
Oh, really? What'd you find?
Souvenirs, okay. For you unwashed people, I bought this little tub right over there. And look, it's here it is. Look, it's tubby. Okay, or is it tubby? Like I can't. All right.
eBay.
I'm sorry. There's a vowel movement. Okay.
E-bathe.
E-bathe. Okay. He was part of the bathtub gang for a while.
Well, yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, he was the ringleader. Okay. I got this, John. I found this in my room.
Oh, what is it?
This is. Let me show it right over here. This is from 2012. Okay. It's Nostradamus, okay? And it's a Sun magazine. Now, I haven't gone through it yet. I thought I'd go through it with you. We'll do that in a little while to see if Nostradamus was right about his war prophecies.
You know something? You can open it up. I'll talk about it for a second. He became like prominent because they say he predicted things in the 1400s, right?
In the 1400s.
His predictions were in like old Latin type, the old Latin language. When people transcribed them, they made his predictions fit today's stories. One was like a leader from the East would try and take over the world, and he said that was Hitler.
Okay.
But he said no specifics like that at all. When the original translation, but people make it fit. They make it fit.
Well, we're going to see if they make it fit.
Let's look at the corner picture there.
Oh, but yes.
You can probably...
A sad thing. And this is why I actually bought this for, back in the day.
There, in the very corner, where's it at right there? It's an Elvis autopsy shocker.
I didn't know.
He's really buried in the king's coffin, right? Because he's buried in Yankton, South Dakota. in real life. He was spotted there.
Now, he's buried actually in the back of Graceland.
Yes.
Okay. They have a little garden out there. I forget what the meditation garden, I think they called it. And I was there when I passed through. I went to Graceland a couple of times. And I actually, I'll tell you how long ago it was. They had one of those little disposable cameras, and I had on a wild outfit. And I'm there at Graceland, and we're at the meditation garden. I laid down on Elvis's grave. And I took a picture of me.
Where's that photo now?
We left the camera in a Pizza Hut. So, I know that was one of my most biggest, regrets, because you can't do that anymore.
You know what I've heard too is people that made the trek to Graceland. There's nothing else around, and I always thought the way you imagine the building looks like the White House. But here it's not. It's not that huge. It's big, but it's not like I'm thinking like the Vatican.
I think he bought it already ready-made. Somebody else had it. I forget who had it, but it wasn't him who built it and designed it and everything. He just put in the jungle room.
Did you see the new Elvis movie from last year?
Sometimes I don't want to see a watered down version of somebody that
It's an unusual.
That I admire.
It's an unusual movie because the kid looks like him, and the musical scenes are really neat. But the movie's not told in a narrative; it just drops in on his life, and they have Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker, who's not a good Jiminy Cricket guide narrator for the movie, because there's nothing more creepier than like a weird German Dutchman going, "In 1958, I met the Elvis." And I told him, right? And it's only, but the scenes, he's really good, like singing, but it's all colorful. It's almost like
he learned how to sing. I heard he learned how to sing, and he does the one.
Then I have a dream.
Yeah.
Here's what I tell you. I have a friend. He's a Civil War reenactor, Revolutionary reenactor, and he's a milkman from New Jersey. Yeah. He read up on the movie too, and he said, and he told me this factoid, and it made me laugh because. He said, to prepare for this role, they gave Aston Butler, that's the kid's name who plays Elvis.
Okay.
They let him hold Elvis's guitar for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And that's like really because the spirit of Elvis's ghost will come into his body just by touching this.
Right? Sometimes it's nice to have an artifact about somebody. A lot of people get inspiration from, inanimate objects.
I'm channeling Walter, what's his name? Paul Winchell. Right? I can feel Willard. All right. But no, you're right. But come on, movie stars. Oh, they let them. Oh, the other factoid was they let them go through. Graceland in rooms that are roped off.
There was a couple rooms roped off. I tried to sneak into them. Of course, I was caught. But the guides at Graceland, they were all into the, the peanut butter and banana sandwiches will be up there, and Hamburger James is going to serve us, But they were in on the joke too. They weren't too stodgy. Like, how dare you say that about, it wasn't like today when I went. I do have a part of, they had a flood in the cellar. Okay, and I was there, and they had a whole bunch of things out on the lawn of the Elvis stuff.
Drying out,
right? And one was his fatigue outfit that he, when he was in the Army. Yeah. And it was frayed at one end. So being the collector that I am and probably, a big-time Elvis fan, I went up and I took a couple of the threads off of...
Oh, really? And where are those threads now?
In my storage.
Oh, very cool. That's really. My friend's father was in the service.
Okay.
At that time period, and somehow he came across. He has not a Polaroid, but he has a photograph of Elvis sitting on the back of a Jeep, but it's a real photograph, not like a copy. It's a with the white lines around it, the white frame around it. But that's pretty cool. And when Elvis died, he had 600 feet of undigested food in his stomach.
That's what junkies do.
Yeah.
You got to feel sorry for the guy a little bit. He died at 42, and he was so famous that, and he got caught up. So it doesn't. You know, I mean, millions of people admired him. I mean, he had all these, money, and he had fame, and he had a great voice. The best-looking guy out there for a while.
There's a great documentary called "This Is Elvis" from 25 years ago or more.
I remember that. Yeah,
it's a really good documentary, and they have a guy impersonating Elvis but narrating his life. It's really good, but it shows you Elvis's last concert, like 6 weeks before he died, and he was really heavy, right? And he's singing to the audience at some place. He's like, "It's 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Hey, man, you going to eat that?"
I understand that. And you know what, though? They compare us to Elvis, the Kensil Culture podcast.
Really?
Well, they asked for a little less conversation. Okay. And
I saw that famous Muslim Elvis impersonator.
What? There's a famous Muslim Elvis impersonator?
Yeah. Amal Shook Up.
That is a real guy. I heard of that guy.
There's also neat about Elvis Presley too. Is there are some people, because Elvis had those dark looks and that thick hair. What a head! He had the best head of hair I've ever seen on any human being in my life.
You know who he copied?
I know. Yonder lies the castle of my father.
Yonder lies the castle of my father, and that was Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis, and. Might know him from some Like It Hot, okay? The Great Imposter.
The Great Race, Houdini. Yeah. He's a famous actor.
Good-looking guy, okay? And he's Jamie Lee Curtis's father.
And he did kind of look a little, blue eyes, but the hairstyle was real short over your ears, but real thick pompadour up front. But there's a book out because Elvis, he had those dark looks because he was a gypsy blood, like Hungarian, right? There's somebody who traced back on his mother's side that he was Jewish, part Jewish, whatever, right? And somebody actually wrote a book about it, and the book's called Schmelvis. I swear to God, right? It just made me laugh.
There's so many, anti-Semitic, jokes there that we better not touch Elvis.
It's 1 for the money. That's what I said, man. But Elvis, when he died in August of '77, that was the same day like Groucho Marx died.
Yeah.
Right? And didn't catch anything. I think someone else died around the same time too, like Joan Crawford or
Farrah Fawcett or somebody.
No. He's right about that one. When Michael Jackson died,
Michael Jackson.
Farrah Fawcett died, and I think the Dirty Dancing guy died around the same time too. But I know Farrah Fawcett died the same day Michael Jackson did. It's weird. They go in 3.5s. That is when. But
Barry Coleman died on that too.
Yeah, if the little lady from Poltergeist died with Gary Coleman, they could use one coffin. But Elvis was just a unique character too. It's just that when his daughter just passed away, they buried her in Graceland too, and she looked like Elvis.
She looked just like Elvis in certain shots.
I was telling somebody today about it. It's this celebrity worship culture, right? Like you see. They're on the red carpet today. Ooh, look at that. They're no better. When you see them live, they're human beings. They're not. Ooh, I always say this on the show. When people think Freddy Krueger's really evil, right? Or I told you I did a job one time for a guy, and he worked at the Basilica, and he said when the Pope walked by, Pope John Paul II, he goes, "John, I reached out and I touched his robe. I could feel the power going through that man." Like. Oh, whatever.
Well, he's the Pope. You know, you got to feel something for that if you believe, if you're a Catholic and stuff like that. Hey, did you know what the Spanish called Pope John the 23rd?
What?
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
They were when he died. They were looking at a Pope from Potpourri, France, but they didn't want him because his name would be Potpourri. Now,
hey, you know what? I was always curious why Elvis didn't die on stage, because he died on the toilet, which is not a good way to go, John.
No.
I mean, they flush your ashes down the toilet and stuff. But some guys did die on stage. I mean, and some. Now,
we've talked about
if there's any women on the list.
We've talked about this before. There's a website. It's actually kind of really neat. It details. It's on Facebook, but there's another group. It's about famous stars who drop dead on stage.
That's the way I want to go.
And we talked a couple weeks ago about Tommy Cooper. He was a magician, and he died, and people thought it was part of his act. Well, this past Saturday, a famous Houston rapper named Big Pokey.
Oh, I love Big Poke.
Right? He was 52. He was 45 years old, and there's a video of it. He's at a looks like he's at a nightclub. He's on a stage. Well, actually, it's a platform, and he's rapping, and next thing you know, just falls over backwards, dead.
Oh, I like rap. You know who my favorite rapper is?
Who? Favorite rapper? I see. Yes.
Tupac. Tupac. Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's
Hey, deal with it.
it's in the cards. But and I think we also talked about Tiny Tim dying, Tommy Cooper. But
Poor Tiny Tim, he went.
I'm scrolling through this. There's a famous band called Morphine.
Morphine, and
You would know their song. I can't think of it though. But
isn't it ironic that somebody who names their band Morphine dies of a drug overdose?
Yeah, box office poison. But
there's no syringe benefits to that.
but as I scroll through this too, and you realize too that this is how people die. There's no you're supposed to, you always think people just die in their sleep and you know. But we talked about these people before, but it's just very interesting, these people dying like that. But I thought it was neat, though, I wanted to tell with this about celebrities, how they're not these social gods, like, oh, they must be worshipped. Well, I just found an article about famous people who were freaking weirdos.
Listen, I've met famous people, and they are weirdos. But they have those idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
Because there's not a fine line between genius and not so genius.
But we're gonna delve in that on our next episode.
Okay.
And but people don't forget, time's flying already.
Yeah.
We spoke about Elvis all the whole show. But people, check us out on YouTube, all podcast formats. Hit subscribe and hit like and share us too. We're going to do another episode. We'll have up in a little bit. But I'm John Kensil.
Hey, and I'm the legendary Wade saying subscribe and hit the bell.